My journey began with a wrong turn. So wrong I suspect my sat-nav was in on the joke. One minute, I was cruising the motorway, dreaming of artisanal coffee. The next, I rolled into Harmony Creek, a town that missed the last 70 years of progress. The welcome sign, peeling and proud, declared, "Harmony Creek, the way America used to be." They weren't kidding. The place felt like a living, slightly dusty museum. The air was thick with nostalgia. Think mothballs and faint regret. The streets were spotless and eerily empty. No sirens, no teenagers, just a silence so deep I checked my own pulse. My car, a modern marvel, looked like a spaceship among the Chevrolets and Studebakers, relics from an era when petrol was cheaper than water. The whole town was a monument to a bygone era, before gluten-free, before the internet, before we realized jetpacks weren't coming. I stepped out and the silence washed over me, profound, almost aggressive. A shop sign creaked in the breeze. Somewhere, a train whistled, probably out of habit. This was the epicenter of the good old days. A place so committed to its past it had opted out of the present. I wondered if they still thought Eisenhower was president. Best not to ask. My adventure in this temporal anomaly had officially begun, and I had no idea what I was in for. My first mission, find Wi-Fi. I wandered Main Street, phone aloft, searching for a signal like a lost pilgrim. The locals, both of them, watched as if I were summoning aliens. No routers, no blue lights, just the hum of ancient refrigerators. I ducked into the general store. "Do you have Wi-Fi?" I asked. The owner stared, then pointed to a rotary phone heavy enough to double as a doorstop. This wasn't off the grid in a trendy way. The grid never arrived. No internet cafes, no public terminals. Logging on was as foreign as sushi. My phone became a very expensive paperweight, a monument to my dependence on technology. Panic gave way to relief. No notifications, no endless scroll, no pressure to be available. Here I was unreachable, a digital ghost. The quiet wasn't just an absence of noise, it was an absence of information. For the first time in years, I had no idea what was happening in the world. And the world, mercifully, had no idea I was here. It was liberating, at least for the first 5 minutes. Then the silence started to feel very, very real. Main Street was a film set for the good old days, minus the actors. Shopfronts were frozen in time, Miller's haberdashery with dusty hats, the sweet shop with fossilized candy. The majestic cinema's marquee still boasted. The ticket booth sat empty, a relic of lost dreams. Every building whispered stories of abandonment, hardware stores with steam-age tools, banks with calendars stuck in 1959. No golden arches, no franchises, just hand-painted signs and family names. This was capitalism before the corporations, a world where your name was your brand. It was charming, unsettling, and utterly devoid of life, a testament to small-town America, right up until you realized everything had been closed for 50 years. Harmony Creek was a museum you couldn't touch, and no one had dusted in decades. Hunger led me to Peggy Sue's Diner. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, and a jukebox that had seen better days. The air was thick with fried onions and coffee brewed since dawn. The menu was a laminated relic: meatloaf surprise, tuna melt, and coffee that could wake the dead. Flo, the waitress, refilled my mug without asking, a gesture from a forgotten age. I ordered the special Salisbury steak in a sea of brown gravy, mashed potatoes, green beans boiled into submission, and a bowl of lime green jelly quivering ominously. It was food from a 1950s school cafeteria, simple, heavy, and deeply beige. The other patrons, elderly men at the counter, discussed the weather with the gravity of world leaders. No music, just the hum of the fridge and clatter of cutlery. It wasn't gourmet or Instagrammable, but it was honest. The food didn't pretend to be anything it wasn't. As I ate, I realized this was a culinary time capsule, a place where the jelly jiggled with a mind of its own, and somehow it was perfect. Harmony Creek's population seemed to have a strict age requirement, 60 and up. I felt like a teenager at a retirement party. The few people I saw shuffled along, faces etched with pre-internet wisdom. I tried chatting with a man tending roses. "Lovely day," I said. He replied, "The government's putting fluoride in the water to control our minds." The lack of outside information had bred some creative theories. The post office was the social hub. Residents gathered for mail and gossip, the postmistress knowing everyone's business. In a town this small, there were no secrets, just a living, breathing social network with stamps. I felt like an anthropologist studying a lost tribe, suspicious of outsiders, fiercely protective of their way of life. They were immune to modern chaos, living in a bubble of their own making. And oddly, I envied them. They seemed perfectly happy in their slow, quiet world. Maybe they were onto something. If Harmony Creek had a tourist brochure, it'd boast, "Come watch paint dry," literally. The main attraction? The Historical Society. One room, dusty photos, and a milk bottle collection. The curator gave me a passionate tour of the milk bottles. Riveting stuff. The park featured a rusty swing set and a bandstand abandoned since Glenn Miller's heyday. Activities included sitting on benches, looking at trees, and risking tetanus on the swing. The souvenir shop sold postcards from the 70s, thimbles, and commemorative spoons. Merchandise for a tourist boom that never came. I bought a postcard just to prove I'd been there. Harmony Creek's greatest attraction was its own existence, a place to do nothing, to disconnect, to be bored. It was the ultimate anti-holiday, and in its own way, almost brilliant. Sometimes doing nothing is the main event. According to the milk bottle curator, Harmony Creek was founded on optimism and poor planning. It sprang up as a hopeful stop on a railway line connecting bigger cities. For a while, the town thrived. Shops opened, people settled, the future looked bright. Then, in the late 50s, a new motorway bypassed the town. The trains stopped, travelers vanished, and commerce dried up. Young people left for the cities, leaving their elders to tend memories. The decline wasn't dramatic, just a slow, quiet fade. Shops closed one by one. The world outside rushed forward, but Harmony Creek's clock stopped. The town became a self-imposed time capsule, preserving the moment before it was left behind. Residents stayed out of love, stubbornness, or simply not knowing where else to go. They became guardians of a forgotten world. Harmony Creek's history isn't about great battles or famous figures. It's the story of a town bypassed by the future, and perfectly content with that. After a day in Harmony Creek, the silence gets inside your head. In the city, noise is constant. Here, silence is an active presence, a heavy blanket over everything. You listen for any sound, just to prove the world hasn't ended. Time stretches out. An hour feels like a day like a week. The frantic pace of modern life seems absurd. Here, there's no rush, no deadlines, just the slow arc of the sun. I found myself sitting on a park bench, doing absolutely nothing. No phone, no podcast, no plans. Just watching a leaf fall, listening to birds. In my normal life, this would be a waste of time. Here, it felt essential. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of thoughts, observations, and peace. Of course, peace can tip into loneliness. The quiet can feel like abandonment. Harmony Creek walks that line every day. It's chosen peace over progress, quiet over chaos. For a visitor, it's a novelty. To live here takes a special kind of person, someone who's made peace with being forgotten. As I found the road back to the 21st century, my phone buzzed to life, notifications flooding in. The world came rushing back, loud and demanding. My first feeling wasn't relief, but loss. Was Harmony Creek a hidden gem to be preserved, or a cautionary tale about refusing to change? There's romance in a place frozen in time, strong communities, honest values, great milkshakes, but also isolation, decay, and melancholy. The good old days weren't always good, they were just different, and they're gone for a reason. Progress is necessary, but places like Harmony Creek remind us what we're losing: quiet, stillness, memory. In its stubborn refusal to change, Harmony Creek is a living argument for slowing down and appreciating what lasts. Maybe we need a few Harmony Creeks scattered across the landscape to serve as sanctuaries from modernity. They may lack Wi-Fi and lattes, but they have peace, a rare commodity. And in today's world, that might be priceless, even if the mobile reception is abysmal.